Welcome back to Gale Force Wins Season 5.
Well, folks, welcome back to Gale Force Wins. I am in the offices of HR Project Partners. This is a company celebrating 10 years in business this year. 10 years in business. Well, guess what? We just talked to Jacqui. Jacqui Bailey is the founder of the company, but there's someone that she mentioned numerous times, and her name is Janessa Cole. Janessa has been here from the beginning, and she just so happens to be sitting next to me. So Janessa, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, and we're going to have a conversation about your journey with HRPP.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Janessa Cole, and I am currently the Director of Operations here at HRPP. And we'll just talk a little bit about my background and I guess how I got my job here at HRPP, and I guess how I've grown ever since that time. So.
Well, on that note, tell us, what were you doing prior to HRPP? Did you come right out of, grade school or what?
I'll talk about my journey, I guess. So I did the Bachelor of Commerce program at Memorial University, 5-year program, 4 years.
Great program.
Yes, it is. 4 years with 1 year in total of work terms. So the 3 work terms that I did complete, I did it with the same company. And back then I thought, am I making the right decision? Yeah. 3 work terms, same place. Is there any guarantee that I'm going to have a job at the end of this? And there was no guarantee, but I took advantage of that because each work term was a little something, something different. And so back then, Jacqui at the time, she was the HR manager. And under her, there were HR leads, and I reported to the HR leads on my work term. So I didn't work overly closely with Jacqui, but, she knew who I was, obviously. And, I conducted 3 of my work terms there. So, it's, we got to know one another, I guess. But again, there was distance between us because she was a manager and I reported to a lead. So I graduated university in 2014. It was May of 2014. And prior to that, probably a couple of months before that, Jacqui approached me and said that, she may have had an opportunity, not exactly with her, but with her partner at the time. And this probably was March, April of 2014. And of course, in my head, I'm thinking, I'm so excited, like, okay, I might have an opportunity, and oh my God, she remembered me, like, oh my, so it was a big deal. So anyway, that all worked out. I worked with that company for about a year, so 2014 to 2015. And in 2015, from that company, I was laid off. That company was, I guess, acquired, changed names, all that. And at that time, Jacqui was still in touch, and she supported me even, when I worked at that company, providing me with advice and HR support, because keep in mind, I had pretty well no experience besides my work terms.
And you're laid off at this point,
yes,
you're saying? Yes,
so I was laid off then. Yeah. So when I was laid off, Jacqui, that's when HRPP was born. Different name back then, but she approached me again in 2015, so that would have been April of 2015 when I was laid off. And that's when HRPP was born, I guess. So, wow. She started out with HRPP in 2015. I was with her then. It was just her and I. We didn't have a website. We didn't have a LinkedIn presence or, a social media presence at all. And, we didn't have policies. We didn't have our mission, vision, and values. So that was one of our main goals, to get a website and, our mission, vision, and values. So we did that. 2015 into 2016, it was a challenging year. Starting a business, I would say, and I'm sure Jacqui alluded to that. It was a tough time in the economy, and I was laid off from HRPP in 2016.
2 layoffs.
Yep. within a couple of years. So in 2016, I was laid off from HRPP. I then I stayed connected. I still worked part-time with HRPP and took on another full-time HR recruiting job for about a year. So I stayed in contact with Jacqui. She was still working the business behind the scenes. It was just her. I was there part-time. I remember the amount of offices and workspaces we went through back then. It was like, you know, we'd go in one door and come out another door a month later. So, but in 2017, I believe it was around April, May in 2017, she had offered me a full-time job back with HRPP. And ever since then, here we are, 2025, our 10-year anniversary. And, you know, being involved from the early stages and seeing how much we've grown, I've grown personally through, you know, Jacqui's mentorship and the entire team, really. It's pretty fantastic. But 2017 I came back full time and I've been here ever since. My roles have changed, you know, as the team evolved and changed and all of that. So here I am 10 years later.
Well, let me ask you something. So when you're in business, I did a business degree as well. They don't train you as to how to stay positive or confident, particularly after a layoff. Mm-hmm. Let me delve into that a little bit. You know, you're very young, you're just starting, and you get laid off pretty early on in your career. I was laid off 30 years after my career, so that was tough enough. Mm-hmm. Tell me how did you stay resilient? How did you stay positive? What did you do?
To be honest, I'm the type of person that, you know, I go with the flow. So at that time, luckily, being young, my commitments, you know, my personal commitments with respect to, you know, a house and a car and all that were minimal at that time. But, you know, Jacqui was definitely, she had a part to play in that for sure. I know back in 2015, 2016, you know, it was a challenging time for her and HRPP and us in general. So, you know, her attitude and her approach to staying positive and me still being in contact with her, having her as a mentor and, you know, keeping in touch with her, working part-time. It was definitely very challenging to stay positive. But on the other end, you know, at the end of the day, Gerry, you know, I had the support of my family, which definitely helped. And again, you know, I'm a go with the flow kind of person. And at the end of the day, I do truly believe that, you know, the cliche, everything happens for a reason. And I do believe, you know, when I look back and I look back at my work terms and I look back at my career progression, it truly has, everything has happened for a reason and everything has played, you know, fallen into place.
It's interesting though, you know, when you get laid off from a place, most times you move on. What is it about Jacqui that convinced you there was a future? You're obviously here now 10 years later, but, you know, back then you're young, you know, okay, Jacqui, you promised me the world in the beginning, and here we are. I got laid off. What is it about Jacqui and HRPP?
Really good question.
I'm really putting you on the spot here now.
I like this. You know, I had faith in not just HRPP, but Jacqui as well. I really believed in her. You know, I really looked up to her as well. And HRPP, again, starting out from the beginning and helping to create a website and, you know, helping to do whatever it took really to kind of get off the ground, it made me feel, you know, it was my baby as much as it was Jacqui's baby, so to speak. So, or that's how I felt, you know, and I really I still care about the organization. I'm here 10 years later. But I truly cared about, her belief in the business, her positivity. And, you know, she took a risk on hiring me, someone who literally had very minimal experience, and for her to listen to my opinions and listen to my feedback, being so young and having literally, next to no experience, that really made me feel good about myself, and it made me feel like, you know what, like I never thought I would have a leader or a mentor who believed in me as much as Jacqui did, and for that, why would I not come back to HRPP?
Yeah.
And why would I not stay committed? Because she was committed to me. She allowed me to grow and have different opportunities while I was on my work terms. She approached me making sure I had a job, or helping me, supporting me find a job when I graduated university. And she believed in me as a student and as a new graduate to help her grow and gain momentum as a new company.
I'm going to ask you a bit more about yourself. We haven't delved into this before, but I'm going to. Why did you choose business in business school?
Yeah.
Was there any influences in your life that made you go down that direction?
So I had three options when I don't know if it was grade 10 or grade 11. And my three options were social work, teaching, and business. And it was really, honestly, by chance that I was like, I'll choose business. There's work terms and there's paid work terms, which for me, that would support me then through the rest of my school career, I guess you could say, right? So that helped me as well. So that was one of the reasons why. When I was, it would have been grade 10 and 11. So I was, 15, 16. I actually, in my hometown, I had a chip truck.
Where is that?
Bell Island.
You had a chip truck?
Yeah, I had a chip truck, and came up with the name Twiggies, similar to, some other chip trucks around town, but, kind of tailored to where I was from. And I practically, not ran that, but I would say I had a huge part in that. So the summer of grade 10, 15 years old, I was in there all day, 7 days a week. My parents both had full-time jobs. And
You're 15.
I'm 15.
This is awesome. This is an awesome story.
I am 15, 16 years old. And, my parents had full-time jobs. My mom had a full-time job on Bell Island. My father had a full-time job off of Bell Island.
Not business oriented?
No, not business oriented.
Not at all?
No, not at all.
They must have thought you were cracked.
I know. I don't know. I painted the...
Where'd you get the truck?
I can't remember where we got the actual chip wagon, but I remember when we got it, it was already, I think it was white and red, and I remember, painting an ice cream cone on there and a hot dog and the logo, the Twiggies logo.
Yes, this is an incredible story. You're 15.
I know.
So you get the truck. The truck, does it already have some equipment in it?
It does. It has all the equipment.
Yeah.
We had to get a freezer because we were selling ice cream. And I cooked and collected the money. I met so many different people because, again, tourism season. And so we operated from, I think it was June, July, August. And, my parents would come home and they'd cut up more potatoes and bring them down to me. And but throughout the day, I was there by myself. Pretty much 7 days a week. My parents would come and work it as well when they could. I did that for 2 summers and then realized, maybe I want a real job. So,
Not this fake job.
Yeah. So then I took on a different summer job for the summer of grade 12. But I was babysitting when I was 12 years old. I walked from one part of Bell Island to the other to babysit someone who was 3 and 4 years younger than me. So I was wise beyond my years, I guess.
Well, look, you've blown me away with this 15 and I had a chip truck. So how is that particular thing you did that summer, though 2 summers, how's that shaped you going forward?
Well, I think for me, Gerry, it's hard work. I think I understood the value of working hard, independence as well, and just understanding somewhat of how, I mean, I was young, but understanding somewhat of how a business operates. And it really, I was dedicated to that. I'm dedicated to everything that I do in life for the most part. And, it really showed me how to work hard, have independence, and just, again, work with people. So that really helped me as well throughout my career. You meet so many different people from different parts of the world, different parts of Newfoundland and Labrador, different parts of Canada and beyond. So being able to communicate with customers, and that has helped me in my career as well. But again, when we talk about Jacqui and HRPP, I've really learned a lot throughout my journey of 10 years, 11, 12 years of experience, but 10 years at HRPP, and starting out, and that's why too I love when we support students and we hire work term students, whether it's from Memorial or the college, and that's important to us to help them in their career. But
so let me ask you this: when you first started out, and that year that you got hired back on, would you and Jacqui go to meetings to try and win business together?
Pretty much.
Yeah?
No, I was more so working behind the scenes. So when people say, you wear many hats, I probably had, maybe 30, and Jacqui had probably 50 different hats. So, we definitely wore many hats. And for me, again, my expectations, it's not that I didn't have expectations, but I expected to pitch in, help where needed, work to get us where we needed to be, whether that was formatting a resume or calling a reference or, creating a policy. It was, I can support with anything. And again, just so grateful for Jacqui and allowing me the opportunity. It was important to me to step up and say, what, I can do whatever you need me to do, I'll do. I'm here. And in return of that, Jacqui has, provided me with coaching, mentorship, great opportunities in my career, and has exposed me to so much in my career with HRPP, and has really kind of coached me along. And I've learned a lot, for sure.
She's thrown you in front of the camera multiple times.
That too.
We talked a bit about how, she was doing that, but she also stepped in front of the camera herself, which I commend her. What she did in Labrador City with me was just amazing. 30 interviews in 2.5 days, something like that. Janessa, very inspiring story. What advice would you give to, say, a young person getting into the business today?
Okay. Some of the things I guess I would say is, dedicate yourself and work hard, have patience, and again, it's important to just take advantage of all those little things and look at opportunities as something to help you grow. Again, I never would have thought I'd sit in front of a camera to do multiple videos with Gerry, but here I am. I've taken on different opportunities throughout my career. So, certainly, step up and volunteer yourself in doing different opportunities that take you outside of your comfort zone. I've been outside of my comfort zone many times in the past 10 years. And if, I could tell myself, then what I know now, I would tell myself, again, take on those opportunities, step outside your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to give your opinion respectfully. And just, don't sweat the small stuff. And really kind of take advantage of all the opportunities that you have available to you. And although they may not seem like, huge opportunities, those little opportunities to learn something new every day. And if you can do that, then take advantage of that.
I'm going to ask you a quick question about, I know I'm kind of like my last question, but in terms of associations, you're a member of several. Tell us the importance of being a member of some of these
That's a good question,
various
too.
associations.
It's very important. So when I was going through university, I applied for scholarships, and I remember back then, it would have been my second or third year of university, and and HRP&L, so the human resources or professional human resources of Newfoundland and Labrador. I remember at that time they had student memberships. And part of, I guess, being a member, you could apply for scholarships. I was successful in getting that, but I do remember at that time thinking, you know what, it was minimal cost, and I thought this is a good opportunity for me to become a member, to, learn the ropes with that. So I did become a member of HRP&L, in the early stages. Also, one of the things that was really important to me, and I think that's why I align so well with Jacqui and HRPP, is community involvement. And that really shaped my career as well. I remember I volunteered on 2 boards several years ago back, and I was in grade 11 when someone from the community approached me to serve on a board. And I was a student board member. And I was on that board for over, 10, 15 years. So I was on that board for a long time. I recently, yes, it was. And I learned so much. I mean, I had no idea anything, no clue about boards, what they did, how, any of that. And I do remember joining that and being a part of that. I just actually stepped down from the board a couple of years ago. So, and it still holds a special place in my heart. So being involved in the community, volunteering, supporting those committees, don't be afraid to take that leap. I knew nothing. Felt sometimes like, oh my God, I don't have a clue like what they're saying, and but hey, you learn a lot as you go along, and the people around you, hopefully can support you and teach you a lot of things.
Well, folks, Janessa Cole has been by Jacqui's side for 10 years. This business is celebrating 10 years. And I listened to a podcast called Entre Leadership, and the gentleman, Dave Ramsey, says that business people are heroic. And I can tell you, Janessa, I'm so proud of you. You are someone to look up to. What I really find interesting about this business is that Jacqui really wanted you to be featured as well. And for rightly so. This business would not exist if it wasn't for Janessa Cole. And I can tell you, folks, that if you're looking for someone to mentor your young daughter in business school or whatever, this is the face of leadership in Newfoundland and Labrador. Janessa has helped build an incredible business that has employed at peak times 100 people. Think about that, 100 people on payroll. To go from being laid off to 10 years later, you've been part of an incredible story, Janessa, and I really appreciate you sharing it with us. So thank you for joining us. Absolutely,
and thanks, Gerry. Great questions, and it was fun sharing my little story behind the scenes, and I appreciate it very much. And I'm so happy, and I'm really happy to be celebrating 10 years with HRPP.
Well, let me ask you this one last question. I know we're close. Is there a chip wagon in your future?
I don't think. I've moved on from that.
Thank you, Janessa. It's a pleasure.
Thanks, Gerry.
Thank you for tuning in to Gale Force Wins. That's Gale Force Wins, WINS.com.